Exactly 1 o'clock on the nose, and you're right on time for what is making news at this hour in general news, business and sports. Much later, we'll look at cultural tourism and how we can tap into that for the advancement of our cultural heritage and, by extension, the growth of our economy. This is Lunchtime News. I'm Doreen Arange. Brad Murera is our sign language interpreter. Now, before we inform you on the day's news broadcast, let's just quickly turn the crack to County Hall, where the Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja is currently speaking. Of course, this is over the ongoing spat, over the spat that was between the Nairobi County government and the management at Kenya Power and Lighting Company. Watch.
To serve the people. I'll leave it at that, Chair. Thank you. Sorry for taking time. I'll be short, briefer next time.
DIG or IG, I think there was some question directed to you. So that we can accommodate the other members.
Honorable members.
Let me confirm that we collaborate a lot with the Nairobi County government, and in particular even government itself. We keep on collaborating because
some bit of glitch there, but the moment we get that, we shall be crossing back over there to County Hall to just listen in to what the Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja is saying in regards to what was that spat between the Nairobi County government and the management at Kenya Power Lighting Company, I should say. Back to studio, a 2-year initiative aimed at eliminating banditry and cattle rustling in northern Kenya is yielding significant progress. Some criminals are now transitioning into legitimate traders and peace ambassadors. Historically, the Morans were notorious for their involvement in highway robberies and armed raids targeting livestock. However, through the support of the community-based organization Impact Trust, many have turned to peaceful means of income generation, notably in livestock trading.
We developed an alternative way of living rather than depending on livestock or going into cattle rustling, and we supported them with some seed funding, about 800,000, so that they can now begin other alternative sources of livelihood, like livestock marketing. That's what they are now doing, and we also use them now as peace ambassadors in that region to influence other youths to come out of banditry.
Group yetu sisi tunaitwa Group Sordo. Sisi tunasukungana na hiyo pesa tukagawana, watu wetu tukatoa watu wa sita, kila mtu anapatiwa 32,000. Sisi sasa kila mtu tunazungushanga hiyo pesa tunarudisha kwa mwezi mmoja, tunarudishanga 1,000 tunaweka account.
And over 2,000 junior secondary school teachers in Kisumu County have received training on the use of virtual laboratories and digital resources to strengthen teaching of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects. The initiative, spearheaded by the Center for Mathematics, Science, and Technology Education in Africa, aims to make STEM learning more interactive and inclusive. As the Okoth, a CEMASTEA trainer, noted that virtual labs will enable students to visualize complex scientific concepts and conduct experiments in a risk-free environment.
This training overall is intended to achieve the following. One, the participants at the end of this training should be able to demonstrate ability to access the various e-learning platforms, especially so the CEMASTEA virtual laboratory access system.
We can incorporate the virtual labs or the virtual labs in our learning so that the practical aspect of the science being a part of STEM will be effective. The knowledge that the learner ought to get from the practical as well as the skills are going to be effectively incorporated.
And the county government of Kwale has initiated strategies to improve the infrastructure of the Lunga Lunga port located on the border of Kenya and Tanzania to grow trade and economy in the area. While launching the repair of the Ziwani Lunga Lunga Market Road, Kwale Governor Fatma Achani urged the residents to collaborate with the county government in efforts to upgrade the town, emphasizing that the town's improvement will stimulate the county's economy through trade.
Na tunaanzia hii barabara yetu ya hizo cabros ambazo zilianza kung'oka, kurekebisha hizo cabros, tutengeneze pia walkways ambazo zitafanya njia za kutembelea ambazo zitafanya mji wetu uweze kurembeka, na pia tutengeneze drainage system ambayo itakuwa inapitisha maji kwa njia ambayo ni ya sawa. Tumetoka Mlalo kuanzishia mradi wa maji pale, tunawachimbia mtaro ambao utasaidia wananchi pale kwa maji, na sasa hivi tuko hapa kuwakabidhi mkandarasi. Lengo na shabaha, tunataka Lunga Lunga yetu iweze kubadilika.
Tumeletewa mashini za x-ray, tuko na theater, na pia hivi karibuni Mungu akitujalia naona tutafunguliwa ile mochari, na wale wenzetu ambao wanataka kuhifadhi mili watakuwa wamepata unafuu wa kuweza kuhifadhi mili yao hapa karibu.
And over 400 residents of Chani suburb in Mombasa County have benefited from free eye care, courtesy of the Focus Container Foresight Station, CFS. The eye clinic, organized in collaboration with the Lions Medical Eye and Laser Center, was set up to help vulnerable residents suffering from various eye ailments. Speaking during the exercise, Lions Club Mombasa Vice Governor Indajit Main noted that while many patients required reading glasses, others with cataracts will be referred for advanced surgeries. The area chief urged the residents to register with the Social Health Authority for continued medical support.
Some have small issues like maybe reading glasses. Some will have some small eye problems which we will resolve here. We will give them medicine, and those people with cataracts, so far there are 10 ready. We will take them to our Lions Center. We will give them state-of-the-art treatment.
Our target was 400, but the way I can see, itafika labda more than 600 and above. And the way we have seen the crowd which has come out, tumeonelea maybe we might have to do it after every 6 months because the community is more demanding.
Ninashukuru sana maana nilikuwa nasumbuliwa na macho, ilikuwa inaniwasha, ilikuwa inaniuma, lakini nashukuru kwa upande wa Focus nimetibiwa, nimepewa miwani, nimepewa dawa.
And our former Kiambu County Governor Ferdinand Waititu has suffered a major blow in his quest to secure freedom after being denied bail pending the hearing and determination of his sentencing appeal. In her ruling, High Court Judge Lucy Njuguna said the right to bail after conviction is not a constitutional requirement because the offender loses his consent of innocence after conviction. Waititu will remain at Industrial Area Medium Prison awaiting review of the case on Tuesday, 18th March 2025. And in Lamu County, residents of Mokowe area are set to benefit from a major housing project initiated by private investors in the area. The investors, Laban Kihara and his team, say they intend to construct over 700 residential units designed for rental purposes. The project is expected to address the growing demand of affordable houses and create job opportunities for area residents. The investors say the improved security situation in the area has made the county more attractive for long-term investment.
Wakati huu tunafanya groundbreaking ya hii resort city ambayo itakuwa ni moja ya zile za kwanza kufanyika katika eneo hili la Lamu. Lamu ni salama na hakuna hofu ya kuwekeza katika kaunti hii, na tunawaalika wote ambao wangetaka kushikana nasi na kufanya kuwekeza waweze kufanya hivyo kwa haraka, sababu kuna nafasi nyingi za kibiashara, nafasi nyingi pia za ujenzi ambazo zitakuja katika eneo hili.
Sisi tunataka kuweka kwanza jiwe la msingi kuhakikisha kwamba wale watu wote ambao watakaofuata kutoka hapa watakuwa na ile confidence. Manake siku zote lazima kuwe na mtu ambaye atakayeanza kitu cha kwanza. Mtu akianza, then the rest will follow. So mimi na urge jamii ya Lamu, mashamba yako hapa mengi, Lamu isibaki venye ilivyo. Lapset iko hapa, lazima tuisupport na miradi kama hii ya housing na mingineo ambayo itakaofuata hapo mbeleni.
And now Kenya is increasingly turning to the alternative justice system as a solution to the growing backlog of cases. The system has gained significant support across the country, especially in rural and marginalized areas where access to formal courts can be limited. AJS incorporates mechanisms such as mediation and arbitration, providing an alternative to the often rigid court procedures.
In Nakuru County, stakeholders recently gathered for a workshop aimed at promoting the adoption of alternative justice system, AJS, to tackle the increasing number of land-related conflicts. Tabitha Rutere, an AJS panelist at Nakuru Law Courts, says AJS helps to resolve underlying issues in dispute resolution often missed by formal judicial systems.
What comes to court are symptoms. Very few know what the exact matter is. And when you listen to the symptoms, let me call them symptoms, we are able to know this person, these symptoms the person is speaking to us is an indication of a bigger problem, which is 1, 2, 3. So when you're able to read the symptoms, and then we sometimes make the person understand what it is.
Nicholas Kagunda, a psychologist, further highlighted that AJS methods have proven effective in resolving land and family conflicts, thus preserving social cohesion.
As they try to help them address these concerns, ideally what they are trying to do is, preventing these issues from escalating to a level that can even have a negative adverse or rather a negative impact on the so many areas of their life, not only to them as individuals but also even to the family as a unit, not only the family as a unit, also even to the society at large.
Na ni jambo ambalo tunapata ya kwamba tunapoketi tunawasaidia tu, si kwamba tunawapatia suluhu, lakini tunawaelekeza tu, tunakuwa daraja kati ya tatizo ambao walikuwa nayo na suluhu, tunawaelekeza tu.
Pastor Mary Mbugwa commended AJS for its flexibility and effectiveness, contrasting it with the rigid and often slow formal court processes, ensuring quicker and more harmonious resolutions.
Kwa sababu kumepile makesi nyingi kotini, na vile tumekuwa tukiingilia, tumekuwa hata tukitatua kesi kama 2 zinaisha.
Maria Ambo reporting for the Lunchtime News.
A dispute has erupted between residents of Murera village in Juja constituency and officials from the Water Resource Management Authority, WARMA, over a road constructed by locals across the section of the Murera Dam. The road, built by the community using pooled resources passes through the dam's spillway, raising concerns of the authority. During a public participation session near the dam, Warma officials struggled to explain the dangers of blocking the spillway, warning that the road could cause a disaster when the long rains arrive. The locals, led by the member of County Assembly, Moses Ngatha Wambiri, strongly resisted the road's removal, saying that would affect hundreds of residents and school children.
Kuna shida ya hii ikiwa pale na hiyo imekuja kuletwa nini na wataalamu wetu. Sasa tuwezi kani kama tuwasikizi John ya kutusaidia ni nani? Ndio hawa.
Hii haijeweko. Watoto walikuwa wanasuguka eneo ya kilomita karibu 10 ili waende pande ile nyingine Kakamba kusoma kwa masomo, lakini saa hizi wakitumia kwa hii barabara iko kwa hii bridge sasa tunataka kuuda hapa, itakuwa ni njia fupi na ile iko kwa hapo, na hakuna mtu yote anaweza kuja afikirie vile atabomoa hii nafasi.
Nataka hii njia isibomoe, hii njia matutengenezee kwa sababu tuna nguvu nyingine tunaweza sema.
Alafu hata mawe yenye ambayo tumeweka sio ati tumekorogea mawe, ni mawe yale makubwa yenye ambayo tunayaita mwamba, tumechukua na tumeyapanga kiasi kwamba hata maji yasipopita kule ndani ya hiyo culvert tumeweka, bado maji yanapata njia zake ya kupita ndani ya hayo mawe.
Residents of Kanangonin, Magarini, Kilifi County held demonstrations decrying harassment by salt companies allegedly using police to evict them from their ancestral land. They lamented that the salt farms have continued to encroach into their land despite a case pending in court, carrying twigs and singing songs of justice as they called on area Governor Gideon Mungaro to intervene. The residents also claimed the farms are colluding with police to carry out arbitrary arrests aimed at discouraging them from demanding their rights.
Hata tunashindwa sisi. Ikiwa sisi wazee wa umri namna hiyo tutatolewa, hawa watoto wetu watakuwa wapi? Pili, tutawapeleka wapi mwanzo? Hata hivi sasa tutashindwa na kusomesha watoto wetu.
Na ombi zito sana kwa gavana wetu Mheshimiwa Gideon Mungaro wa kaunti ya Kilifi. Alituma jopo ambalo lilienda kuchukua mawazo na kuchukua kunukuu yale matatizo ambayo jamii wanapitia. Ripoti ile bado hatujaiona, ripoti ile hatujajua wakati ilipoandikwa ni mambo yapi yaliyojitokeza na mapendekezo gani.
Why are salt companies clearing land, taking more land, yet it is documented in court record that that land which was not cleared is what is expected to be given to community? Why are they getting into the substance of the case and denying the community an opportunity to prosecute their case?
Environmental conservation champions in Nyalenda slums in Kisumu County want more waste skips availed and strategically distributed within the informal settlements to facilitate proper waste disposal. Led by Practical Action, the environmental conservationist on Monday conducted a routine cleanup exercise in the area by cleaning heaps of open waste and unclogging waterways. They alleged that the Public Health Department as well as the Kisumu County government to roll out more initiatives to sensitize the proper waste management.
You realize that one skip is not enough, so most of the time usually waste is overflowing, and so we would really ask all stakeholders, especially the county government, to give us to provide more skips, especially in the informal sector where there's a lot of waste being generated at household level.
Nyalenda being one of the informal settlement where waste management is a problem, so we also lack a system that can do our waste management in terms of drainages. So rapidly do we have clogging of waste around our drainage systems. So for that reason we decided to convey this activity so that we can keep our community clean as well.
Wakati tuko hapa ukiangalia katika mikono yetu tumevaa vitu kama gloves, tunatakikana tuwe na gumboot, tuna vifaa
kuna tofauti ambayo tunafanya nayo kazi na labda sisi kama wanakijiji labda hatuwezi kuwa nayo. Kwa hivyo tunahitaji wafadhili ili waweze kutusaidia tupate hizi vifaa tuweze kufanya hii kazi pamoja.
Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja has confirmed plans for the repatriation of the body of Samuel Kaitwai, a police officer who was killed in Haiti while on a security operation, is complete and is expected to be brought to the country between the 4th and 6th of this month. Kanja, who attended a memorial service at the officer's home in Nasirian, Kajiado East in Kajiado County, mourned the late Kaitwai as a hero who died fighting for the rights of the people of Haiti.
Tayari tuchalipa kila kitu, tuchalipa ndege, tuchalipa vile atasafirishwa hapa. Kwa hivyo sisi tunangoja pamoja na family akifika hapa ndio tuweze kuenda kwa hiyo hatua nyingine. Tutasimama na hii family kama serikali, kama kikosi ya polisi, tutasimama na hii family hadi hiyo maneno ilitokezea. Tutaenda pamoja hadi tamati.
Amri ya Mungu huwezi jua ama huwezi sema nini. Yeye Samuel amemaliza yake. Wewe na mimi tujiulize yeye itakuwaje.
Samuel amefariki katika line of duty and serving the country. And therefore is an hero, and he will be placed in a special place in this country.
The Kenya National Association of the Deaf has renewed its call for swift passage of the Kenya Sign Language Bill 2024 to ensure full accessibility and inclusivity for the deaf community. Speaking during its annual general meeting, NAD chairperson Nixon Kakiri emphasized the urgency to enact the law, stating that it will provide clear guidelines on communication accessibility, education, and equal rights for deaf individuals across the country.
Established in 1987, the Kenya National Association of the Deaf has been at the forefront of fighting for the rights of deaf individuals in Kenya. At their annual general meeting held in Nairobi, the association held elections for their new office bearers, where concerns on accessibility in language were raised. Kenya National Association of the Deaf chairperson Nixon Kakiri pointed out that one major challenge was the limited screen space allocated to sign language interpretation on television broadcasts.
On the grid, kindly, if we can be able to expand on it, like for the hearing people, they're able to hear information, and for the deaf people are using their eyes as ears in order to capture information. So when the grid is very small, even a person who has visual challenges, they are unable to see that, and that is a challenge. And you find, like, for the deaf community, it's hard for them to get information, and that is communication barrier.
The association vowed to renew calls for fast-tracking of the Kenya Sign Language Bill 2024, which seeks to provide the use of sign language during judicial proceedings in schools and other public.
With this bill, it will be able to sort out many issues and about the judiciary, about sign language in courts, and every other areas. They're all incapacitated in this bill. So we have this law, and if the bill transcends to law, we can be able to have a clear guidance from the parliament.
Kenya Sign Language Bill 2024, sponsored by nominated Member of Parliament Harun Mohammed, has gone through its first reading in the National Assembly and is now at the committee stage where public participation is taking place.
Time for our conversation right now, where we center our focus on cultural tourism. My guest is here, Oscar Ochieng, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Nilotic Cultural and Tourism Festival. Oscar, asante sana. Let's just brought this discussion by first of all understanding what the Nilotic Cultural Festival is all about. What is this?
Nilotic Cultural and Tourism Festival. It's a festival that is bringing all the Nilots together for them to showcase their different cultures. Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about specifically the Nilotic communities only?
Yes.
All right. Now, when you talk about cultural tourism, from your point of view, what essentially are we talking about?
We're talking about our roots, where we came from. Like for example, the Nilotic came from Sudan.
Okay.
Coming through River Nile. Some went to Uganda, others settled in Kenya, and then others also went to Tanzania. Yeah.
So when you say you're talking about our roots and how we moved, especially looking at how it was back then, so then what makes this types of festival significant as it pertains to our cultural heritage?
The Nilotic, there's never been any event like the Nilotic Cultural and Tourism Festival in Kenya. This is one of a kind event in Kenya. There's been, because the Fest has been overrated, yet we have more than 30 cultural in Kenya. Yeah.
I hear you. What I really want to get from you is that what makes this festival significant? What makes them important?
There are some cultures that have been forgotten.
Okay.
So our aim is to show the world, like it's not only the Ma Fest, it's not only the Ma culture that is in Kenya. We have so many different cultures in Kenya. Yeah.
And not in any way putting the Ma culture down, we're just looking at ways in which you can advance more cultures.
Yeah.
So then, talk to me about cultural tourism in the sense that what is this unique, rich heritage that perhaps we have as Kenya that we can tap into perhaps to advance local tourism and by extension even bring on board international tourists? What is this about our Kenyan culture?
Our Kenyan culture is a very unique culture.
Okay.
In that most of the tourism, when they think of Kenya, they normally think of the Maasais. Yet we've got the Luos, we've got the Kalenjins, we've got Turkanas, we've got the Samburus. If we can showcase our cultures to the world, then we are going to get many tourists that are going to visit Kenya.
I'd like you to break down this a bit because you mentioned the communities, and tell me from where you see it, what is this unique thing about these cultures that indeed would make these international tourists come together, that indeed will make local tourists want to actually get to these areas to see these people and understand about their culture? What is so unique about these cultures that give us an advantage?
Our culture is very unique.
Give me those unique traits.
Like we've got things like mursika for the Kalenjins.
Okay.
We've got things like in Luos there is ugali called corn bell.
All right.
There is omena. We've got rech. We've got so many things to show. Yeah.
So how does this give us an advantage as a country, as a community first, and by extension as a country? How do we leverage on such unique, as you mentioned, the rech, the corn bell, you know, such things as those ones? How do we leverage on these unique cultural traits for the advancement of a community and by extension, even the growth of the country's economy?
Like most of the people normally come to Africa, not only Kenya, to see our cultures because we are a very unique continent, and especially Kenya. Our culture is very unique it can be compared to Lesotho.
Okay. All right, we take a very quick breather. We circle back with plenty more of this cultural tourism, just understanding what is this that makes us unique as a country. How can we leverage on this to advance our cultural heritage and, by extension, the growth of the economy? More of this coming after this break. Stay with us.
Inua jamii karibu nawe kwa haraka na urahisi. Kwa sasa, malipo ya Inua Jamii yanapatikana moja kwa moja kupitia simu ya mkononi. Ikiwa wewe ni mmoja wa wanaopokea fedha hizi, hakikisha laini yako ina huduma ya pesa mkononi. Iwapo huna laini ya simu ya mkononi, tembelea duka la Safaricom au ajenti wa M-Pesa aliye karibu nawe ili usajiliwe kwa ada ya shilingi 100. Inua Jamii ni mradi wa fedha wa serikali unaolenga Wakenya walio na umri wa miaka 70 na zaidi, watoto yatima na watoto wanaoishi katika mazingira magumu, na watu wenye ulemavu sugu, kwa kuwapa malipo ya kila mwezi. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako kwa niaba ya Wizara ya Leba na Huduma za Jamii.
Make it. Just after graduation, she joined a production team.
Why must I return the deposit to them? It is clearly stated in the contract that the deposit will not be recoverable in any circumstances. That's the duty of good faith, right? Besides, I'm the only one who got injured in this accident.
I just sent a message to my son and didn't receive his reply. I just want to ask if he's working in the company. I have to do some investigating.
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
Ni kazi gani tena unafanya huko juu sasa? Nimeona ichaoshwa, unaona mpaka angalia. Ni kodobo hivi. Ni spider web.
Unajua ule mtu mimi naweza kupiga tanduru.
Panga nduru.
275.
Toa hii 200.
Kwa nini nitoe 200?
Unabaki na 75 yenyu. Nguruwe mkuki kwa utamu. Jakisi. Wamenivia. Wewe. Unaniita wewe gwana abana chua jina yangu. Mugangani kugwagazi. Ayo.
Welcome back. We continue with our conversation on cultural tourism, just getting a better understanding of what we can do as a country to leverage on cultural tourism. Oscar Ochieng, the CEO, Nilote Cultural and Tourism Festival, is here with me. Now, Oscar, before we went on that break, we're looking at some of those unique cultures, unique practices, I should say, or unique elements in different cultures. You did talk about the Corn Bell in Ugali ya Wimbi.
Yeah.
Not that you might be wondering what you're talking about. But then again, just talk to me about how local communities can benefit from these unique elements within their cultures.
There is a very unique culture, especially in the Luo Nyanza. There is what is normally called a Nyawawa. So Nyawawa is a way of rebuking spirits. It normally comes on each and every on August. So like a Nyawawa, it's a spirit that it's normally rebuked. Like for example, one village starts by saying Nyawawa, and then it goes to the other one, goes, and then it spreads to all the Luo Nyanza. And there is also another cultural practice for the. There is also this practice for night runners, which is also very unique and very different.
I hear you. Those are the practices, and they're unique in every community. What I want to get from you is how can these local communities benefit from their various different cultural, whether elements or practices, whatever they hold dear, how can they really benefit from this?
Because like there is also boat racing. Boat racing can also be used as tourism, because if you go to TRA on the list, there is also that section of boat racing.
So how do they benefit from this?
By showcasing boat racing, they can attract tourists. Yeah.
All right. What about job opportunities available for the young people? Because we keep saying there's nothing that is put out there that is devoid of the young people. How do we bring young people on board? Oftentimes when we talk about cultural heritage, you always think about the older folks in terms of preservation of these cultures. How do we bring young people on board?
There are those.
How can they play a part?
So the young people who normally make beads, there are some who sew clothes. The beads can be sold, and they are normally sold to foreigners, and also local investors can buy them. Yeah.
So in addition to that, what other initiatives are there to bring young people to appreciate more and preserve more their cultures?
If the young people are taught about their cultures, then like for example, people like the Gen Zs, if they are taught about their cultures, then if they are taught about their cultures, they can, instead of them idling at home, they can do something about their cultures, and at the end of the day, they can get money.
All right. Before we get to close this, Oscar, talk to me about some of those challenges that cultural tourism faces and how best to navigate these challenges.
Monetary issues, because it's very difficult for someone to get money, especially in Kenya. But through the ministries, for example, through the Ministry of Tourism, through the Ministry of Heritage, someone can get something from those ministries. Yeah.
So monetary issues is actually the biggest challenge facing the cultural tourism.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Oscar, for your time, for your inputs as far as advancing cultural tourism is concerned. Asante sana.
Thank you.
I have been speaking to Oscar Ocheng, who is the Chief Executive Officer, Nilotic Cultural and Tourism Festival.
2.5 years after key policies were planted, is Kenya reaping the benefits?
Soko watu wanalia, hawana pesa. Sasa unabidi tu unarudi na kitu yako yenye umepeleka huko kwa soko.
Can the country return to the soil and harness its agricultural potential for food security?
Sababu ukiangalia mazao hakuna. Hata hii kilimo hii matunda ni ya siku moja tu.
Join us on Tuesday at 9 p.m. as we speak to agriculture peers Dr. Kiprono Rono on government's progress in filling the country's bread basket.
The Shift, Tuesday at 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. Let's continue to prime you with what more has been shaping the news this afternoon. And Narok County Governor Patrick Olentutu has called on members of Mara Lemek Conservancy to resolve ongoing disputes over the construction of Lesokwan camp in the area by a private investor. The conflict, fueled by opposing views on the camp's location, has caused disruptions and financial losses. One side argues the camp threatens the local ecosystem, particularly by being built in an elephant breeding area. The other side defends the project, stating that the investor followed all legal processes. The ongoing tension has led to violence, which has left several injured and properties destroyed. Governor Tutu urged the parties to settle the matter peacefully to avoid further harm to the Conservancy's vital tourism industry.
Hiyo conflict ya Lemek na Mara, tafadhalini landowners, lazima tuketi tutafute suluhu. Yale mambo ambayo yanaendelea huko sio mzuri, na ningependa tu kusema ya kwamba tayari mimi na county commissioner tunaendelea kuongea na hawa landowners, we sort out that issue once and for all.
Yale ametenda kuchoma mali ya mtu, kuchukua sheria mkononi mwao ambayo iko shamba lake, alafu akuje kusema mahali anazaliwa na wanyama. Hii ni kitu ambayo serikali anafaa kuchunguza, maana sio siku moja ambayo tumeketi na kuzungumzia hiyo jambo.
Wewe uliamua kupeleka shamba yako 25 years. Na mimi nilikataa kujoin hiyo maelewano ambaye wewe uliingia. Na hii shamba ambaye mimi najidai ni yangu, niko na absolute right kufanya vile nataka.
The Kenya Primary School Heads Association in Trans Nzoia County is calling for support for the competency-based curriculum, saying it has potential to improve Kenya's education sector. Led by KPLC Chairman Eliud Kwale, the head teachers noted that the CBC curriculum unlocks learners' potential while equipping them with skills that give them a platform to be job creators, bridging the gap of unemployment in the country.
Sisi wote tukumbatie CBC kwa sababu kila mwanafunzi atapelekwa katika sehemu ambaye ako na talanta. Wala ambao wanaweza kuchukua agriculture wataenda katika barabara hiyo. Wala ambao wanaweza kuchukua home science wataenda katika barabara hiyo. Wala wachezaji wa mpira na wa kukimbia wataenda katika barabara hiyo. Wale wazuri darasani ambao wanaweza kufanya vizuri wataingia katika sehemu ya sciences na katika barabara zingine. Kwa hivyo tunashughulikia kila mwanafunzi na hakuna mwanafunzi ambaye hatakuwa na sehemu. Wakati tulikuwa na 844 wanafunzi wengine wakimaliza darasa la 8 wanabaki nyumbani na wanapotea. Lakini kwa CBC kila mwanafunzi ako na sehemu. Wale watakao maliza form 4 wako na sehemu, wale watakao maliza grade 9 wako na sehemu mahali wanaenda. Hawawezi tu kupotea. Tumepangiliwa na serikali ya kwamba tunawaweka katika viwango tofauti tofauti na kuwa trained katika taaluma mbalimbali ya kuwasaidia katika maisha.
Time for your business news now, and savings and credit cooperatives have been urged to reconsider their dividend payout strategies and create a safety net to safeguard members against potential financial losses. This comes amid reports of financial mismanagement in a 13.3 billion shillings fraud. Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, which has exposed 247 SACCOs in the country. The Commissioner for Cooperatives Development, David Obonyo, called for prudent financial management within SACCOs to safeguard their long-term sustainability. He was speaking during the Harambee SACCO annual delegates meeting, where the SACCO approved a 15% interest on shares and a 10% interest on deposits.
Encouraging is we don't want SACCOs to have creative accounting whereby they are bowing to the pressure from members to pay dividend that is not realistic. We want SACCOs to pay realistic dividend, what they have been able to realize out of their business. If you are able to get 12%, there's no problem, pay that 12%. But don't cheat. Don't go to the bank to borrow money to come and pay dividends, because by doing that, that's not a prudential way of managing our finances.
I want to assure members that the monies which were in Cusco, they are not going to affect anybody else's return, and that must be very careful. And we need to also to look at what is it. Cusco has gone down, people have lost money, but that money, if you look at all those SACCOs which were there, they are paid a return, which they could have paid even with that money coming. Because what is there is just to recognize the income which would have come as a dividend from Cusco. And this is also a wake-up call.
Streamlining policies guiding the tapping of the blue economy resources is key in attracting investments to harness ocean resources that remain underutilized, particularly in deep-sea fishing, a sector valued at $20 billion globally. Experts say blue economy research could help address unemployment, food insecurity, and environmental degradation to support research and innovation in maritime studies and blue economy. Mount Kenya University has committed 30 million shillings.
The dry land jobs are saturated, but right now we need to move to the marine space where the job opportunities are still plenty. So we encourage all of us, whichever area, whichever level of education that you are in, to come and train with us and move to the next space of maritime training and also marine space for employment.
Very excited because it is also helping us to be able to reflect on what the niche area of the coastal region, particularly when we talk about Mombasa and Malindi, how we can be able to build the research competencies in the blue economy.
So mine was to create awareness also, initiative also in creating awareness and also preventing the pollution that people are doing. So it's a very great day and I'm very happy that I have been given this chance to present my system.
Cryptocurrency prices have jumped after U.S. President Donald Trump revealed he would like Bitcoin and other lesser traded tokens to be in the new U.S. strategic crypto reserve. In his January executive order on he said digital assets will create a stockpile of currencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. Details of this and more stories in our global business news roundup.
U.S. President Donald Trump has announced the 5 digital assets set to be included in a new U.S. strategic reserve of cryptocurrencies. In a Truth Social post, Trump revealed the reserve will hold Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, Solana, and Cardano, sending markets values soaring. More than an hour later, he affirmed that Bitcoin and Ether will be at the core of the reserve. Following the announcement, Bitcoin surged over 11% to $94,164 US, while Ether jumped 13% to $2,516 US. The total cryptocurrency market value spiked over $300 billion according to the CoinGecko. Meanwhile, Mix Ice Cream and Tea, a bubble tea Chinese firm that has more outlets than McDonald's and Starbucks, saw its shares jump by more than 40% in their Hong Kong Stock Exchange debut. The company raised $444 million in the financial hub's biggest initial public offering of the year. Mix's popularity comes as many people in China are grappling with the country's economic challenges, including a property crisis and a weak consumer and business confidence. It sells ice creams and drinks for an average of 6 Chinese yuan. Finally, a former boss of Barclays, who was ousted from the bank over his links to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, will seek to clear his name in court this week. Jay Staley was forced out in November 2021 after UK regulators ruled he had failed to accurately disclose the nature and length of his relationship with Epstein to the Barclays board. The episode cost Staley, a man with glittering and rewarding career in investment banking, €18 million in pay for the bonuses and, more than importantly, his reputation. Staley is seeking to overturn a decision by the Financial Conduct Authority in 2023, banning him from holding a senior position in financial services.
Time for your sporting action now, and more than 50 young talented footballers took part in the Safaricom and MultiChoice organized 5-a-side football tournament that delivered on its promise of thrilling competition and high-energy gameplay. The tournament was filled with fast-paced football and intense competition, showcasing the best local talent and uniting passionate players for an exciting battle that captured the spirit of the Premier League football.
We are here today for the 5x5 challenge courtesy of Showmax and Safaricom.
This is the first one we've won actually, because most of the tournaments we go to we usually end up being runners-up. In some actually tough, we never really make it past the group stages. So this one is really special for us, and it being one sponsored by Safaricom, it's a platform for us to, step further with our football.
Next, we're going to Mombasa in like 2 weeks' time. That is at Uwanja Mbuzi. For my listeners in Mombasa, you know where it is, near Kongoya. So we'll be coming there next.
Fired Master Joyce Nyaruai was crowned the overall winner of the Marvin's Chess Tournament held in Nairobi after posting an impressive 5.5 points. She led 8-time Premier League champions KCB to an outstanding performance in the tournament, boosted by candidate Master Benjamin Magana's second-place finish in the open section. Gong Thong Gong of Marvin's Chess Club was the winner in the open section, pocketing a cash reward of 50,000 shillings. University of Nairobi's Karen Ezekiel won the university's title ahead of Mushila Angel Kassiani of Strathmore University. The players now shift focus to the upcoming Kisumu Open Chess Tournament, set for 22nd to 23rd of March at the Grace Ogot Hall in Kisumu County.
We've tried to revamp the team. Last season we didn't have a very good league season, so we are trying to make some changes. We're also trying to boost our training regime and just building the team spirit. And we are confident that we will do much better than we did last season in the league.
And that's all the time we had for you this Monday afternoon. Thank you so much for staying with KBC Channel 1 and for choosing Channel 1 to inform you this afternoon. This has been Lunchtime News. I am Doreen Arange. Brad Muraru has been our sign language interpreter. Good afternoon.
Wellness is important in our daily lives, so that instead of just surviving, we should be thriving.
Ways to prevent a stroke or heart attack is for you to know what conditions you have,